Hi everybody, Helen Davis here from Blended Therapy for another morning meditation. I was talking yesterday about fear, and I just thought I'd explain a little bit where I was coming from yesterday. So my mother had, well, first of all, she had a wrist operation back in January, and just as she was about to be able to get the dressing off and be able to get on with her life, she managed to fall over and break her other wrist. So yesterday morning, the reason I was experiencing quite a lot of fear was that we had an appointment at Basingstoke Hospital for her to have the plaster cast taken off her wrist. And obviously, nobody particularly wants to be going into a hospital at the moment if they don't have to. So there was a lot of fear around that, but it's now done. We had our protection systems in place, and we will all feel safe and comfortable that we took all the precautions we could, and that whatever happens, we wouldn't look back at that trip yesterday and wish we'd done anything differently, which was the way that I chose to handle the fear that came up around it for all of us. So moving on a little bit from fear today, I wanted to talk about how to raise, or how I find it helpful to raise my vibration. Because as we said, there's so much fear around, there's so much fear we're putting out there, we're pulling in from other people. So by default, if we can effectively, if fear is contagious, so is the opposite. So I've been talking about the love being the opposite of fear, but there's another way. Sometimes it's not easy to feel into love just like that. So I wanted to talk this morning, I felt moved to talk this morning a bit about pleasure and joy, and about doing what feels good to you in the moment. So usually when I start, usually before I come online to join you all, I've done some yoga practice, I've usually done some meditation of my own, and I feel like I've got myself into the zone to then be able to open and share. Not this morning. This morning I decided when I woke up that I wasn't ready to get up, and I stayed in bed for well over an hour longer. And when I did get up, I decided that I needed a bath rather than a quick shower. And I had a long bath with Epsom salts and essential oils, and it was wonderful, and I really enjoyed it. And then as a result of that, I haven't done any practice yet. I haven't had my breakfast yet. First thing I've done is come to talk to all of you. And it feels really good. And I completely appreciate that if you're at home with a house full of children, or still doing a full-time job from home or whatever, that you might not have the option to go and have a nice long luxurious bath at 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. 8:30. But what is it that will bring you pleasure in your day? And I'm reminded of getting home. Oh, the dog's just arrived. Getting home with my mother yesterday after she'd had her plaster taken off, and she went in and had a bath, which is part of our decontamination process. And she then came down and she was standing there going, "I've got two wrists. I can move my hands again." And if you can imagine, for somebody who loves to garden, having spent one way and another the last 2.5 months unable to use her hands properly, that's a wonderful thing. And it's going to make a real difference to how she can cope mentally, because she's now got the ability to do the things that she's been wanting to do. And that pleasure or joy can come in so many different ways. So it might be something like choosing to do something like have a bath, choosing to make a particularly delicious meal for yourself from what your most choice ingredients that you got in your delivery this week, or it might be something as small as when you happen to take the bins outside, the sun breaks through and you suddenly feel the warmth of the sun on your back. And just pausing for a moment and really taking pleasure in that feeling. Maybe it's something that one of your children has said to you or done or given you, or just the way that they've been. a moment of tranquility, a bit of space. Whatever it is, notice these little moments of pleasure and allow them to bring you joy. And doing that every now and again, maybe once a day, maybe if you're lucky, a dozen times a day, will make such a difference to how you're feeling, because you can't feel pleasure or joy at the same time as fear. So this is a really practical way of helping release a bit more of the fear, a bit more of the so-called negative emotions, and come more into that place where we can be, I don't like using the word negative and positive because emotions are just emotions, but coming into that space where we feel stronger, more joyful, more ready to cope with whatever the world is giving us today. And you may be able to hear the birds outside. The other thing that gave me joy yesterday, pleasure and then joy, was that I managed to work out a way of getting the pump on my pond working, which means that the birds once again, excuse me, the birds once again have somewhere to drink from. So doing that gave me pleasure, and then watching the birds finding the source of water again within 5 minutes gave me huge joy. So join me in taking a moment to feel your feet connecting to the ground, however you're sitting, to letting your eyes close gently if that's comfortable for you, or otherwise simply focusing them softly, letting them rest downwards. And feel that connection of your feet to the ground, whichever part of your feet is connected, whether you're on the chair or on the floor. Feel your sitting bones resting down. And maybe take a moment to find those edges between complete flopping of the legs and the feet and tension, and find a place in between the two where you feel that your spine is being supported by your lower body. And your shoulders can release. Your head can simply sit on your spine. And your breath can come easily and gently. And then, without worrying whether you've got it right, accepting how you are sitting in the moment now, turn your awareness to your breath. And simply watch how your breath is moving through your body today, right now. Where it's making its presence felt most strongly. And how the breath is moving today, at the moment. Whether it's deep or shallow, smooth or jagged, slow or fast. And as you watch it, maybe you notice that the quality of the breath changes a little. Or maybe not. And when your mind goes off, distracted by a thought, a sound, a sensation in the body, notice where it's gone and gently, kindly bring it back to your breath. And each time you notice your mind wandering, check in briefly with your body as well. Notice whether you still have that sense of connection to the ground through your feet, or whether you need to re-establish that. Notice whether your spine is slumping or supported, whether your shoulders have tightened or are still relaxed. And whatever's happening, just observe that with curiosity, with interest. No judgment, no criticism. And gently come back to that awareness of your feet, allowing your spine to straighten a little, your shoulders to release, your jaw to soften, your tongue to rest loose in your mouth. And if it's helpful for you, you may want to bring your awareness to rest in your heart center, that space at heart height in the middle of your chest, your heart chakra. And if you want to, you may even wish to rest a hand or even both hands on your heart, or you may want to keep them resting in your lap, on your thighs. Bring your awareness to that heart center. Imagine the breath coming in to your heart center. So each inhalation brings warmth and light and love and positive energy into that space in the middle of your chest. And with each exhalation, you allow that energy, that warmth, that light, that love to start to expand. So the in-breath fills that space, that heart-shaped space in the center of your chest, with everything that you need to find the joy and the pleasure in every day. And as when you're ready, you can allow the exhalation to expand that sensation, that light, further and further out, till it creates a bubble, protective shield around you. A permeable shield that allows all this warmth and light and energy to continue going on out, further and further out from you, knowing that every inhalation reinforces that source of energy and light and love in your heart, so that there is always enough and more for you and enough and more to extend out through the exhalation to all of those around you. Breathing in, replenishing your own internal supply, and breathing out to share that with the people you love, the people who are physically close to you, if there are any, and the people who are further from you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I invite you today to take every moment you can to savour the pleasure and the joy, however small. And if you want to take this practice even further, make a note of them, write them down. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow.